Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back into the Racecraft Simulations V8 Veterans action for Season 27. It's the Split 2 race this evening from the Nürburgring Nordschleife. We're live across both the V8 Veterans and Infinity Broadcasting networks here this evening, and you can help support us by clicking the like button and subscribe, the bell icon too, so you're notified whenever we go racing. Hamish Munro here with you, calling all the action as always, and not Brett Fisher alongside me here this evening. He's instead Phil Manuel stepping into his place. Phil, we come into tonight's race to the 170 turn, 30 kilometre circuit, the Green Hell, the Nürburgring, a track deemed in infamy, but it's slightly adjusted this week due to some unforeseen circumstances thanks to iRacing having a hot fix taking place at 10 p.m. on Thursday night. It means that we shrunk the race down to only 150 Ks and 5 laps, and unfortunately for Split 2 and Split 1, it became a showcase race and a non-championship round. What does this mean? Well, it means that We only have one drop round this season for season 27. That will adjust the points. We will discuss them in a moment. But Phil, could be a big spanner in the works in terms of the championship. This track was already going to be something that was going to test drivers. Knowing now that it doesn't have championship implications, what do we think we could be in for this evening?
Thanks for having me. No, it should be very interesting tonight. It's not a track that I am familiar with at all, but certainly didn't race this week, but looking forward to see how it goes.
I feel like even drivers who've done many laps around here can't completely claim that they know every part of it. Of course, it's very easy to get lost in the forest here at the Nürburgring, but there are many drivers out there who are some early favourites coming into tonight, including Christopher Blanchard, who has quite a few laps around this circuit, so he'll be one of the drivers to keep an eye on here this evening. As I said, it's only a showcase race though. No points on the line, no penalties, nothing of that matter. It means that it's going to be a full send affair here at the Nürburgring. Looking at the championship points in the table, well, this is how they'll be lining up prior to next week's race at the Adelaide Street Circuit. With the adjustment of now only having one drop round this season, it means that Gary Buckland's championship lead has extended to 20 points over Bruce Tannick. What it's also allowed is Bretton O'Brien to slot inside of the top 5 in the title race, with Ron Allen and Brett Horsell lining in behind them. This change though, Phil, means that some drivers have dropped down the order slightly. It's brought a few others up, but it's really tightened up the order amongst that top 10. With a lot of positions on the line, or a lot of drivers hoping to get into that top 5, it could realistically be anyone's game in that battle. For the championship though, this is I don't even know how to look at this for Adelaide next week, because any of these drivers could make a mistake. But looking at it, I think the easiest choice in terms of a championship battle is Gary Buckland and Bruce Tannick at this point. Only 20 points separate them. There's a few more back to Bretton O'Brien, and there's another 10 back to Ron Allen. So knowing the circumstance of the last race normally, where we get less drivers in the final round more so than the rest of the season, I think Bruce has probably got the biggest chance of challenging Gary for that championship next week.
Yeah, there's a few big names up there, isn't there? And obviously we know with Adelaide there's a lot of concrete around, so it could turn on its head pretty quickly. But hopefully for those guys, they can have a good run at it for the last couple of rounds.
We'll see how it all pans out for them, of course, but it does mean that there's some other drivers lower down the pecking order who've been brought a little bit further up the order now as well, so that's given them a chance to fight their way forward in the championship. As we stated, we're here tonight at the Nürburgring for the full Nordschleife layout, including the Grand Prix circuit at the very bottom right there. Over 170 turns. Originally it was going to be that 200 kilometres and 8 laps of distance, but it has been changed, as we slated, to 150 Ks and only 5 laps due to the time constraints of the server on Thursday night. This is the circuit though. It is a heavenly one if ever there could be one. It is also a hellish one if ever there could be one too. We're right alongside the coastline of Belgium, just above France, and within Germany we will find the Nürburgring here, slotted in between the hills of the Rhineland, and well, it is a legendary place to take yourself racing, as we stated. And realistically, this is a street circuit mixed with a full-time racing circuit as well. It's all going to start on that main straight at the very bottom there and down towards turn 1 of the Grand Prix circuit. Then a shorter run finds you to the midpoint of what would be that Grand Prix circuit, as we said, up and around and down towards the hairpin at the bottom, and then up through the Schumacher S's, and then around towards the entry to the Green Hell. And I can't even begin to describe how difficult this circuit is. You can break it down into sections though, Phil, I think, as a driver. And yes, I know there's many sectors around here, but I think there's probably 4 main sections you can separate it. The Grand Prix circuit, probably the first third of the Nordschleife. Then the second third would be up and around towards the end of the first carousel, and the final section would be from that point all the way down towards the re-entry onto the Grand Prix circuit. And you can tackle those sections and try and perfect them as much as you can, but I think that's probably the easiest way to figure out where you are around here, is by determining what section of track you may be in at that stage.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, yeah, I haven't really turned many laps here at all. Maybe a couple in the Mazdas when I first got into iRacing. But from what I have sort of seen in the Split 1 race, for starters, was the draft in the car was quite significant along. It's a long straight. These cars obviously don't have great draft usually, but you can really set yourself up a pass along that straight.
You can indeed. You got to be careful though. Don't want to go too early. You go too early on the straight, the driver that you passed can have an opportunity to come back to you. And it's not even, it's lying to me. It's not even 170 turns. It's 154. What am I saying? And it's only 26 kilometers. Well, it happens when you don't do the complete research leading into the race on the evening as well. As we get ready for what's to come here tonight, we will find our starting grid order for this evening's race as well. And for Gary Buckland, the championship leader, he has slotted himself onto pole position here this evening alongside one of the crowd favourites for tonight's win, Chris Blanchard, who knows this place very, very well. In behind for row 2, we will then find Brett Horsell and Ron Allen making our top 4 to row 3. We'll then find ourselves to Mick Clifton and Bruce Tannick alongside each other as well. Bruce will be someone to watch here this evening. We know that he's a very, very quick and talented driver, and he's driving the season of his life. He'll be hoping to end it all with a championship next week on the streets of Adelaide. To row 4, we then find Nathan Favero and Benjamin Brook alongside each other. In our top 10 for row 5, it is Jamie Peters and Tony Chapman as well. In behind them for row 6, we then find Brendan Zatira and Brett Fisher making up the top 12. To row 7 in the top 14, we find Jeremy Bush and Roy Clark lining up alongside each other. Row 8 in the top 15 made up by Darryl Callahan. Brenton O'Brien just missing out of that top 15 starting position. P16 will do him just nicely though here this evening. Row 9 in the top 18, it's David Duddle and Peter Baxter alongside each other. Into row 10 in the top 20, we'll find Rick Viger and Scott Weston out there here this evening. Row 11 in behind for the top 22, it's Craig Miller, Chad Viger. To row 12 in the top 24, it's Andrew Listener and Abel Verben. Row 13 in the top 26, it is Andrew Galley and James Bourbon. James will be starting though from pit lane here this evening due to a penalty, so he will be serving that pit lane start here at the Nürburgring. Row 14 will be Brett Taylor, our race controller here tonight. In there is apparently Mandeep Singh, so thank you to Mandeep alongside Sean Vanderbilt. And as always, Todd Duggan will be starting further down the order as well, as will Halil Cesar and Michael Quain. There's also Yusuf Corfidis down the order as well. Andrew Rushworth unfortunately joined the server instead of just clicking watch, so he will not be partaking though as a driver here this evening based on the fact that he is based out of Split 1 with yourself, Phil. That's one thing we'll be able to talk about tonight is some of the differences between Split 1 and Split 2, and we've mentioned it at nauseum previously of some of those differences and how the driving can be different for those moving up from Split 2 into Split 1, or Split 1 drivers coming down to Split 2 as well. But truly there is this, I find that first timers can find a more significant difference, but I suppose that, that's something that we'll be able to talk about across the evening as well. We already have a heap of chats out there. Luke Ullman's with us, Nathan Favero, Rhiannon's with us, and Shane Patterson as well, so great to have you all watching along with us. Phil, there's a bit of nerves on the grid for these drivers right now. They've got about 40 or 30 seconds until the lights are going to go up for them to begin this long run for lap 1 here tonight. Normal pressure would dictate that they might be sweating, but I think there may be a bit more than that knowing what's coming up for them.
Oh yeah, I can only imagine those 30 seconds while you're sitting there waiting for the clock to tick down is always a long 30 seconds. So all you're hoping for is just to get the car off the line without any wheel spin and get through that first couple of turns.
Well, hopefully they can. We know that history could dictate us to finding cars spun around by turn 2. Hopefully that's not the case for the drivers here this evening, and they can keep it nice and tidy. The lights are going to go up though for our starting grid, and our pole sitter Gary Buckland is not on the grid here tonight. This could be very, very detrimental for his championship hopes if he were to get sorted out into a poor starting position. He has officially missed the start. Lights are up for them now. The Nürburgring, what can you offer for us across your 26 kilometres and 150 turns? Green flag here at the Nürburgring. Run towards turn 1 for the first time. Horsell with a great start into the race lead. Blanchard into P2. Clifton wants an outside run. Ron Allen right there as well, as is Tannick. But there's a whole gaggle of cars trying to get through here as Peters goes round with contact from Callahan. It's a car park at turn 2.
Oh wow, look at them all trying to scramble around the outside. That's a bit of a mess, that is.
multiple...
Luckily, it looks like everyone's got underway.
They have, which is great to see. Multiple cars involved. That's given a few good gains to some drivers. Quain's up 16, Cesar up 16, Taylor up 10, Corfiadis up 13. So they managed to take advantage of that early drama for those drivers down at turn 2. As we look at our current order of things, Horsell leads the way. Tanek is a man on the move already, gets past Ron Allen. Now, you've been up the front end with Bruce Tanek last season, Phil, when you were back with us in Split 2. And I know he's previously been touted as a very aggressive driver. He's been very, very smooth this season, though. Do you think that he could have something in his locker to win the championship next week at Adelaide?
Yeah, absolutely. He's been driving really well this season, and I've never sort of been anything to do with him as far as incidents or anything like that, but he's sort of have that reputation of being aggressive, but looks like he's just sort of toned it down a little bit this season and is driving really well, so it's good to see.
Really, really good to see. He's found something to set himself up going forward. Entry to the Nordschleife for the first time. Off of the Grand Prix circuit they go, and into what would be the second section of this circuit for you to mentally work yourself through. This section here, very, very flowy, a lot of switchbacks through this initial part of the Nordschleife. You've got to keep the car nice and light. It'll want to dance for you across some of these turns, and you've almost got to let it do its thing, but if you try and wrestle it, it can come out and bite you on the rear end at the wrong time if you're not careful. Callahan, though, remains in the wars. He's just had another incident, and that car's incredibly loose and under pressure right now from Cesar and from Scott Weston in behind him.
Certainly not the track that you want to be sort of holding some damage from early on in the lap, so hopefully for his sake that you can hold on and just get through this little section here.
You see the undulation changes and just how much pressure that's being applied already in this race, and it's one of the toughest circuits to get a move made. If you're confident for it, you can get the job done. Over the jump they go. Somehow they pull it up. I've got no idea how in the hell you could throw the anchor out the window of these things and pull it up after the jump. I'm surprised that we haven't had anyone end up in the wall there just yet.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a pretty hairy part of the track, that one. I haven't actually ran it in the supercar before, but even in some of the slower cars that I've driven around here, you're certainly holding on for dear life.
Well, we can already tell who's got some good pace tonight. Blanchard, Horsell. These guys are on fire already at the front of the field. As Tanek's already gotten past that main bulk of cars that was behind them, he'll look now to try and chase down Blanchy, but with already such a large gap, this is going to help Blanchard. The problem, well, that could have occurred if this was a championship round, of course, Phil. If it was a championship round, Bruce Tanek's currently in P3. Gary Buckland is in last place. If the race had remained how it was, and it was a championship round, we could have been looking at Bruce Tanek leading the championship before next week, if it had finished how it currently is.
Yeah, it's quite hard to believe, isn't it, that it's sort of come to this, but a lot of discussion, and I'm sure that they've got their reasons why that this didn't count for a championship, but I'm not sure what happened with Gary, but yes, he doesn't look like he's taken the track from what I can see.
He has taken the track. The timing has classified him a lap down, though, because I believe he actually missed the the miss start button, so he started slightly late. It will reset him though when we get to the end of the lap. I do realise I need to send you something, Phil. I need to send you the live timing, so you've got timing on everybody in the field.
That'd be nice.
On your rig, so we'll get that sent to you. So that way,
beautiful.
You can get it all going yourself as well. Horsell and Blanchard though lead the way. Bruce Tanek is in behind them at this stage. Ron Allen, Nathan Favero, they're running well, as is Brendan Zatira. Mick Clifton down a couple at this stage of the race already, but he was strong in qualifying. He'll be hoping to maximise in the race. And Brett Fisher up 2 into the top 10. Can you believe it? This sort of drive early from him, and he's not even here to appreciate it.
No, that's a shame, isn't it, for Brett? So hopefully he can get on and watch the race tonight. But yeah, shout out to Brett.
Shout out Brett. Unfortunately got pulled away at the last minute for family friend dinner, so he couldn't be here with us this evening, as Andrew Lister's going slow further down the order, so he's had a bit of contact somewhere. Andrew Galley's carrying heavy damage on the front of that Shadow Racing machine as well, so already a few war wounds are starting to be formed for some drivers. It's an interesting strategy that comes into tonight. Pretty much, there's no compulsory pit stops, but you cannot make the race end. Luckily for Andrew, if he pits here at the end of lap 1, he will make the end of the race. So he's just going to nurse it now for the rest of this lap. Get it in, get it fixed, use one of the 3 fast repairs available, and this car will be ready to rock on for another 4 laps.
It's a long time to be nursing no front bar. We know what these cars drive absolutely horribly without a front bar on, so hopefully he can hold it together.
Well, the problem for the drivers behind him, of course, Buckland, Baxter, is that there is Jamie Peters, last week's race winner on the timesheets after a penalty went the way of Bruce Tannick. He just had a moment before the carousel. And as they come through once more, they've sorted themselves out. Gully's gotten out of the way of that pack, and all those cars are looking to get by him, although Listener's having a bit of trouble now, as is Boardman to get by too. There's Brett Taylor just dropping a little bit further back. So a couple of cars struggling out there, Phil, but they're keeping themselves sorted at this point. But the front runners incredibly clean and almost look to be unbeaten here this evening.
Yeah, what a start from Brett Horsell. I remember racing against him in Split 2, and I think maybe even a little bit in Split 3. He's a good driver. I think, you know, if he could put together a good season, he could find himself up in Split 1, Brett.
I reckon he can. He's got so much talent about him. He proved himself early in the season to have some great talent. He's not had the best of luck throughout the midpoint of the season, but if he could put every puzzle piece together, he could find himself in a championship winning position as Ben Brook gets into some strife further back. He now drops some spots as well. Scott Weston, I think, is carrying a bit of damage here. I saw he was in the wall before, so he's struggling right now just to nurse this thing around. I suppose the almost enlightening thing is, though, it's not hurting their championship. So that I think is the little asterisk there of, even if they might find a bit of race disappointment, it's not going to be championship disappointment, thanks to the fact there's no points on the line. Into the second carousel they go. Horsell leading to Blanchard, and Tannick's about 3 seconds back, so he's given up a little bit of time in this sort of middle section of the circuit here, Phil, but we know that Tannick's fast. He'll continue to push on, and it's a good chance for him to keep himself firing as, well, this is a very large train. Oh, you'd hate to see someone at the front of this train have a problem, because the rest of the drivers could pile in as Viger gets into some strife there.
Yeah, it's an angry looking pack, isn't it? It's Viger's going to go sneak down the inside there. But Ben Brook's a driver that I've noticed has improved quite a lot this season. I think I've seen him racing a little bit in the ASR series. He's come on in leaps and bounds.
He really has. He's really improved in terms of his pace. Late last season he had great pace as well, as Callahan looks to get by him. And I think he carried that momentum well into the beginning of this season. He's had a little bit of drop off in the mid part of the championship, but he's driving exceptionally well. If he doesn't win the championship this season and he remains in Split 2, he may be one of those drivers you keep a keen eye on for season 28, because he could definitely be a challenger come next season, as Mick Clifton, first car into pit lane for their first stop here tonight. Brett Fisher's going to follow him, so they've determined to take this very early to save them calculating the fuel and land them to push on. The issue is going to be, though, when they get to lap 5, the 4-lap-old tyres are going to be a little bit worse for wear come the end of that lap, and they may be struggling for grip by the end of the final lap of the race.
Yeah, I can totally understand why they'd be going in super early to get themselves some clear air and try and just get into a bit of a rhythm. I certainly think that's the play if you're sort of further back down the field.
There is Andrew Galley. He'll get his car fixed up. Front bumper magically appears back on it, and he'll be ready to rock and roll out of pits once more. First fastest lap of the race was at 8:42 for Brett Horsell. In qualifying, we were seeing down as far as the 38, so we could see that in race trim, but it may be a little bit harder to get it made without a nice toe going down the straight. So I feel like, though, if Blanchard can hang with the back of him here, Phil, Blanchy may be the one to take fastest lap of the race next time by.
Yeah, absolutely, and obviously sitting there, you'll be saving a bit of fuel as well. So, you know, that's all that stuff adds up when you're coming into pit lane. And any saving that you can do now is just sitting there, just right behind him. It will certainly serve him well with his next stop.
You can see here as well, Ron Allen's managed to get back past Bruce Tannick by the time they got to the Grand Prix circuit, but Tanek here looking to get back by him again on the entry to the Nordschleifer. Plenty of room given from Ron. On to Bruce. Bit of a door between them all. They're going to go side by side. And down the hill they go. Somehow they get out of it. They look to be locked together then. I don't know how. Neither of them ended up in the wall, but they continue to push on. But this is a hot and heavy battle for a podium position here this evening.
Yeah, that was looking a bit willing there. It's so often you can sort of get that sort of stuck together where you just can't get away from it. And then all of a sudden your car will sort of swerve off and you can end up off into the grass. So it was good racing, good hard racing by both of them.
They're doing well and pushing on up towards the jump. Watch the front end reach for the sky. Oh my goodness, a wild, wild ride up through there. We ride with Bruce Tanek at the moment, P2 in the championship. Surely he'll be feeling good going into Adelaide next week, and he knows there's going to be some pressure on him. I think the issue for Bruce is he doesn't want to get back in the old ways. He doesn't want to feel the pressure and feed it into angry driving. He's got to drive exactly how he has all season and hope that that pays off for him in terms of a championship. I feel like he's pretty well locked into going back to Split 1. I think at this stage, he is one to fight for the title, and Gary Buckland's going to have a hell of a test battling it for it next week.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's easy to fall into that sort of trap when if things don't sort of go your way early in a race. It's easy to overdrive the car and maybe perhaps poke it in there where you shouldn't. So hopefully Bruce can just hold his head and just play a smart drive, and that's certainly something. That smart driving is something that I look to with Luke in Auburn in our team. He's the kind of driver that will just sit there and play it smart, and when the door opens, he's right there to take it. So it's certainly something that I try and learn from him on.
Certainly, Luke is probably one of the best examples of sort of fast-paced development in terms of the series. Didn't spend much time in Split 2 before making the move up towards Split 1. But did it without winning the championship. And, there are obviously a lot of drivers who would go up to Split 1 without winning a title and who may never even return to Split 2 to get a chance to win it. Oh, Blanchard! Ooh. Getting real loose, nearly making rear-end contact with Brett Horsell. It's obvious where Blanchy is slightly faster than Brett, but at the moment he's got nowhere to get past him here, Phil.
Yeah, just got a little bit out of shape there. I'm not quite sure how he kept that out of the wall, but he's gathered it back together, and you just need to get back into that rhythm. And there's a bit of a slide there, so he's pushing hard. He doesn't want Brett to get too far down the road because the advantage that he had was all that fuel saving. So he really wants to get back onto the back of him, but he doesn't want to do anything silly here.
Well, we can see this little battle pack is starting to heat up as well. Clark, Corfiadis, Verben, Weiger, Taylor. He's a little bit further back off this one. Buckland actually trails this battle pack now. He's not been corrected onto the lead lap just yet as Corfiadis gets real loose. So I wonder if the issue with the timing is because Buckland technically missed the missed start section, it is always going to classify him as a lap down. Which if it did, his race is already over before it's really even begun.
Yeah, it would have been a disaster for him if this counted for points. You'd feel for the guy, no doubt.
You would indeed. I suppose it's a lucky lifeline prior to next week where you got to learn from it. Make sure you don't make the same mistake. Duggan's just gotten past Michael Quain up the road from these guys as well, but it's a good little train that's starting to form. Verben wants a move here on Roy Clark. Gets it done down the inside and a great move. Clarkey gave him all the room. But Roy Clark seems to be struggling for speed here through the middle forest section of the circuit.
Yeah, he does look like he's dropped off a little bit. I'm not sure if he's carrying any damage or something, but he certainly looks to be under pressure here.
Feeling the pressure at its pure almighty maximum with Chad Weiger on his heels now as well. So we'll check back on this one very shortly. The battle pack in behind looking nice and tasty as well. It's led by Brett Taylor, James Boardman in behind. He's going to get the inside run on the carousel, get that job done nice and easily. Gets past Brett Taylor. Listener now on his heels, as well as Rick Weiger at the rear end of this one as well. Scott Weston toes back to pit lane. His night looks to be done and dusted as well. That's the beauty as well of it not being a championship round. There's no rules in terms of the regulations, so you actually don't have to request the tow. You can just tow back to pit lane if you have an incident and call it a night for yourself. So for Scotty, he's obviously thought, well, I could spend the rest of my evening with my partner. Still plenty of evening left, obviously, over in Perth, being that the race would have started around about 5:30 in the afternoon. So, hey, why not spend the rest of your evening with your partner alongside you instead of running around on the Nürburgring if you've been in a little bit of strife a little bit too early to get something out of this race.
No, absolutely. I can't blame him one bit. So just have an early night and just not worry about it and look forward to Adelaide.
That's it. It's one I think we're all excited for. Australian, track, the real life championship round in our final round of the season. I'm a believer it should be our finale every season. Phil, do you agree, or do you think maybe we should just rotate Australian tracks as the final round every season?
No, I certainly wouldn't object to Adelaide. I really like it. It's my hometown, so love the track. So yeah, no, I wouldn't be opposed to that one bit. But it wouldn't bother me if it was any Australian track. Really, they're all fun. Bathurst is a great time. So yeah, there's plenty of options there.
Oh, just look out for Pete Baxter campaigning for Oran Park to be the finale next season. He's been door knocking recently, I've heard. So. It could be coming our way. Brett Taylor has had an incident, and that car is parked, and it's not going anywhere. Rear wheel is off the ground. Back there, you can see that's plenty of gap between the rear tyre and the road surface as well. This car is not moving, and that'll be his race done and dusted for Brett Taylor. Unfortunately, Chad Viger as well has also had a moment, but he's still rolling. But yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame for Brett Taylor.
Absolutely. That's didn't quite have the suspension travel to get the other wheel on the ground and maybe reverse out of that. But yeah, as we can see, Vigar there with a little bit of damage on the front. That it's funny with these cars. It may just look like the front bars sort of bent in a little bit on one corner like that, but the difference that it makes is quite big.
You might need a bit of a couple of spaces, maybe a bit more flex to keep Brett Taylor's tyre on the ground. But these cars, as you said, Phil, you can look at them wrong and you can get even a little bit of damage or a lot of damage. It's quite selective of when it wants to give you an issue on circuit when you do make contact with someone. A few more cars are into pit lanes. It's Hira, Bush, Verben, Clark, Quain, Boardman, Listener, and Chad Viger enters pit road as well. So it's going to just disjoint the field a little bit now thanks to these pit stops as the teammates of Favero, Miller and Chapman all line up alongside each other inside of the top 10. They got that is David Duddle ahead of them. But yeah, quite interesting how the disjointed field can come back together again at the end. But this is a way for drivers to try and find a little bit of advantage out there by getting into clean air and cutting nice, clean green laps around the Nordschleife.
Yeah, then Nathan Favero's done a good job with his team podium. Those cars are looking pretty striking out there.
Almost looking like the forgotten highlighters in a pencil case. But they stand out, which is great because it means when they're all together on circuit, you know that they're all together and you know they're all part of the team and they're wanting to try and work together as best they can. And it's very rare that we see pink cars in vets, but I'm all for it. I'm a fan of pink myself, and I think more teams and drivers should be willing to accept the pink. I know that your driver, I think it's Ernie Toth, runs the pink variant of your livery. Is that correct? So I think more drivers need to do the same.
Yeah, his is actually meant to be like a violet or something like that. I think it is from memory, but it certainly does come across as pink. But I think Nathan ran a pink car prior to this livery as well, so he obviously doesn't mind the pink. So yeah, it certainly stands out. You certainly don't need to look for the cars, that's for sure. Well,
that's right. You might have a little bit of a view and you see pink and you're like, oh, there's the podium cars. They're doing well at the moment, so I'm all for it. And I like when you do get some teams that have a bit of synergy between them. They've all got similar livery, either with personal colours or they run the same livery, and it means that you can recognise them a lot more. I mean, I'm a big fan, Phil, of changing liveries probably every 2 seasons. I'm not a big fan of changing them every season because then they don't become recognisable. But I don't mind teams that run them for the full year and then change it at the end of the year. I think that's pretty cool as well. So But pressure's building. Dave Duddle, how's he going to be able to contest this with those 3 podium cars in behind him?
Yeah, I know Dave now. He'd be on the radio. He'd be a little bit stressed out, but he's a great fellow, Dave, and his driving certainly improved. And I think out of all of our cars, speaking of colour choices, he's probably made the best one. That blue looks absolutely brilliant. So, but yeah, I think we'll probably be sticking with something very similar next season. We've got a bit of a sponsor change for next season, but we think that we're on a bit of a winner with that livery, and Chris over at 19 does a great job with those cars. We're super happy with it.
Well, it stands out very, very well, and obviously looks like a race car. That's one of the best things that I love about team liveries, is when you look at them and you think, I could picture that being on the supercars grid, and 266 is certainly one of those. And yeah, it is, Dave's, he's definitely improved over the seasons, far gone from the Porsche Cup driver that I met this time last year when he first started his previous team, Corkscrew Racing, to this point now with 266 in the supercar. The improvement scale is insane for him over the last 12 months, and if we look ahead to the next 12 months, he could be someone challenging for this championship by the end of the next year.
Yeah, 100%. He's come on leaps and bounds, and he also brought his mate over, Ernie Toth, who's racing in Split 3, and he's also improved a lot. Those guys have been putting in a bit of work, and it's great to see him getting some reward. I wouldn't have been surprised if he made his way into Split 1 this season, but I think if he keeps going the way he's going next season, I would be very surprised, and he'd have to be pretty unlucky not to get up there.
Well, that's very, very true. Ben Brook, similar vein of Dave Duddle. I think both of them are drivers that can be up there for many seasons to come. Even if it's not next season, it could be the season after, and they're going to be ones to challenge going forward as well. We see that Jamie Peters is under a bit of pressure now from Abel Verbant down the order, which is good to see these guys battling away. And quite amazed that, Jamie had P2 last week. He didn't even realise he was actually the race winner, thanks to a post-race points penalty to Bruce Tannick. So he's done well to get himself his first win in Split 2 as a privateer since returning to the series, even if it was only on the timesheets. I think it should be a win that he can claim in his own right.
That's right. It's a win, so good on him. That's awesome. That would have been a nice little bit of news that he found out after that.
Indeed, it would have been. We've got a couple more people joining us in the chat as well. Chris Blanchard's managed to get out there with us. Andrew Hoffman as well. Gary Buckland in the chat. Nathan Favero is with us too. And Wayne Shepherd joining us in the chat as well, as Luke Ullman's been chatting away too. So great to have you all watching along with us and enjoying the show here at the Nürburgring here this evening as well. Darryl Callahan continues to feel the pressure now from Halil Cesar in behind him. Of course, Halil, former champion in the series. Darryl, well, he's one of those drivers, we've kind of mentioned previously that former privateer moved to one of the big teams in M1 used cars. And when I say big teams, I mean long-serving teams of the vets. And he's shown some great pace and some great drives this season. But he's got a bit of work to do when he wants to challenge for the championship here in Split 2. Phil, as a driver, what do you think Darryl could do to maybe just take that next step? I mean, he's a former contender in Split 3. Certainly someone that can challenge for the Split 2 title, but where does the next step need to be for him to fully lock himself in as a challenger?
Yeah, I remember racing Darryl in Split 3. He had some good battles with him. I think, and it goes for all of the drivers really, it's just consistency. That is the key. You don't necessarily have to even win a race to win a championship or be elevated into the next split. So for Darryl, just keep chipping away. Obviously, he's joined the new team and he's doing really well. So it's just natural progression, I think, with him. He just needs to, like I said, be consistent and the results will come.
Well, I think they can as well. I'm noticing too, further up the field, Duddle's still holding this good line of gap back to Craig Miller, Favero and Chapman. Not quite close enough to help their teammate get past David at this stage. The front four have separated a little bit here. Bruce Tannick's another 7 seconds up the road in P4. Ron Allen a further 3 seconds, 4 seconds up to Horsell, and then it's 0.9 to the current race leader, Chris Blanchard, who's managed to get this move made for the race lead. Chad Weiger has just lost his front end in the forest. And now he's got to nurse this thing either back to pit lane or he's got to tow it back. That thing does not want to drive very happily, and that will be his race done and dusted.
Yeah, that's a shame. That's a real shame. It looks like he's got wheel damage on that car as well. So, yep, not ideal for Chad.
No, it's that's unfortunate for him. We know he's a good, strong competitor. We'll see if the race leaders come in this time. No, Blanchard's going to push on for another lap. Horsell is now in. What about Ron Allen? He comes into pit lane. Does Bruce Tannock follow him? No, he's going to take advantage of the clear track ahead.
Yep, good move.
Yep. Dave Duddle off the track with Craig Miller on his left. So there's obviously a little bit of argy-bargy coming into pit lane then. Those guys getting into it, I suppose this is the week to do it, knowing that there's no penalties on the line. Halil Cesar goes for another lap to take advantage of the clear air ahead of him as well. What about Buckland, who's finally had his timing corrected? And he's now up into P13. He goes again once more. Hoffy giving us an update in the chat. Sean Palmer won't be on for a bit, checking all his gear in this week, and will be heading for Poland Wednesday. Done his duty. So that's great to hear for Sean. Great that he's done with his duty over in Ukraine, and hopefully we can have him watching with us more when he's back in Poland and enjoying a nice, safe time at home watching the V8 Veterans. That'll be absolutely fantastic, and we will be sure to give our congratulations to him for a safe return as Todd Duggan exits pit road just ahead of Brett Fisher. Now, I've noticed here, Phil, Brett actually hasn't had a lot of gain from his early stop, although Duggan's run wide at turn 1, so that's going to give him a spot. But that early lap 1 stop hasn't given Brett the gain that he would have necessarily hoped for. And unfortunately for him now, he's going to have to run these tyres out for another 2 laps, and by the end of the next lap, they're going to be hurting after this pushing. So he'll be just trying to keep it clean, but I don't know if the top 10's at the line for him anymore.
Yeah, it's a shame. I mean, always with the undercut, it's if you don't get a real good lap or two after making that early stop to really gain some time on the cars that are battling ahead of you, then it really can backfire on you because the cars start coming out of the pits behind you and you're under a lot of pressure real quickly.
We've had confirmation of that stop. Apparently Dave Duddle was on the limiter 100 metres before the line, and that's why some of that argy-bargy was happening into pit road there, Phil.
Yeah, just seen that from Nath, so obviously just misjudged the pit entry. The old pit entry practice, it's not something that I do enough of, to be honest. So maybe Dave's just thought he was a bit deeper than what he was and slammed it back a gear, and yeah.
I would give an exception. You have to drive 25-ish kilometres before you can even practice your pit entry here. So unless you do it in practice where you can start on the back straight, it's a bit hard to get your pit entry perfected around this place without doing an entire lap.
Yeah, no, I can imagine it's not something that you'd be. I mean, there's, what did you say it was, 120 something turns. You've got enough to worry about without thinking about how you're going to go into pit lane.
So to be fair, it is a relatively easier pit lane. It's straightforward, straight line. You just got to make sure you get stopped before the cone. But definitely good to know where it is if you're unsure, of course. And I would say it's a fair bit easier than what the regular Grand Prix pit entry is around here. As over the jump goes Brendan Zatira as we ride with him, and you can feel the sort of surrounding effect you get off these trees with you, and the tunnel vision you can almost get from them as well. I have found that when I have done laps here, Phil, tunnel vision is a thing, and I'll get into the rear end of the circuit or the top end of the circuit where the main forest part is, and you'll be coming through the trees either side of you, and all of a sudden you forget where the brake marker is and you're off the road and in the wall at the next heavy braking zone. And that's one of the tough challenges to really contest with. This section's a good example of it right here. You can get in the zone so quickly of being amongst the trees, and all of a sudden, there's a braking zone. I've got to pull the car up, and you could end up in the wall.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's a lot of it looks the same as well. Like it's crazy.
I was hoping to see if anyone was near our second jump, but they're not just yet, so that's unfortunate. But Satira at the moment is doing very well. He has just dropped the spot here to Craig Miller. Continuing to push on at this stage. Top 3 cars are yet to pit in this race. Neither has Gary Buckland. Is Brett Horsell going to use these fresh tyres to take back the race lead from Christopher Blanchard, or could Blanchard push on for just that little bit more and try and gap him just enough to take home the race win tonight? Important factor here, 22 litres is the needed fuel to get home. It's enough to cover one set of tyres. So those drivers that have done a 14 or 15 second stop, they've stopped just slightly too long, because that's going to be that little bit more than what they don't need. We should be seeing times here, Phil, around about 10, I would say, to 12 seconds at the most. So any of those drivers that are between there or thereabouts, they're in the money. Those who are a bit over, they've put that little bit too much in, maybe for a safety net, but they've probably given up a little bit too much time. That probably won't help them in the long run.
Yeah, no, I think quite a few drivers got called out with using the auto fuel and the 1 lap margin, and obviously 1 lap around here is a lot of fuel. I think, you know, it's going to cost you a lot of time. I actually had a little bit of nightmares when I was spotting for Luke in the split 1 race. I had the all this fuel set up for him, and we rolled into pit lane, and the car went up on the jacks, and there was no fuel going in it. So, bit of a glitch or something happened there. But it was at that point I was like, thank goodness this doesn't count for points, because I would have felt horrible.
Yeah, it's you know, I've made some of those blunders before. I recall races where I've nearly ran Halil Cesar out of fuel, or I did underfuel James and he had to come in for an extra stop to get his car home, or even at Fuji where James's fuel, at Coda, where James's fuel reset and put him up on the jacks for the second time. Ultimately, that actually wasn't my fault. That was due to his fuel software. David Duddle right now, though, is under strife and in trouble. He's got no front end. Michael Quain, Pete Baxter make contact in the wall. Goes Michael Quain. Heavy contact in the barrier. And unfortunately, it all comes down to a little bit of domino effect from Duddle's previous contact of him slowing that field up, and all those drivers getting a little bit overrun with each other. It's a scenario that's all too well known here at the Nürburgring, but yeah, David unfortunately had a little bit of influence in that one, but he'll just be trying to push on now. But unfortunately there for Michael Quain as he ends it up in the grass once again.
Yeah, that car's not looking great at all. It looks like front wheels are sort of towing out. Yeah, he's in a lot of trouble there, poor old Dave.
Oh, Peters is trying to get by him. He's just been doored off the road. Oh, there's a struggle with those drivers out there. Dave finally lets him by, knowing that he's without that front end, as Michael Quain is off the road again. And it's in behind that tree there. I don't even know if we can... There he is there, parked up in the grass. So that's a shame for Michael Quain. That is his race done and dusted with 1 more lap to go when he was going to hit the line. And unfortunately, his night is over and done with.
That's a shame. Get to this point of the race, you want to be able to finish it. So bad luck to him.
Yeah, well, the biff's out there. Luckily, the biff is not going to lead to any penalties for those drivers. So they get a little free strike, maybe to... You could have thought of it like this, Phil, I suppose. If you're driving in split 1 or split 2 and you have maybe you have a little bit of grief with someone on track, good excuse to how to get some of the grief out, have a little battle that in a normal race might get you a penalty, where in this one it's, you know, both of you are just going to have a little bit of a punch on out there.
Absolutely. If you had a score to settle, you could certainly, if you found yourself in a position to be able to do that, that would be certainly a bit of fun. But no, I think the guys are just so used to driving fair and hard, so I think they'll just keep it clean as best they can.
100% they will. Craig Miller's gone off the road, but he has towed back to pit lane. So luckily for the likes of Fisher, Verben and Baxter, they've not been caught out by that car having its incident. Blanchard into pit lane now as the white flag's out for the final lap of the race. So we've got roughly 8, no, actually no, it'd be more like 9.5 minutes left in this one because of the fact that the front runners are pitting. Tannick's in. Cesar will look to follow them. Where is this going to put them in terms of finishing order here this evening? Into pits now, the top 3. Horser will come past. Will he jump Blanchard? Well, it looks to be that he's going to. Blanchard still on the jacks. He's only just dropped Horsel's going to get him, though, before turn 1. That's a great gain on fresh tyres for Brett Horsel. The undercut work to Treat to take over the race lead.
Yeah, absolutely. Interesting to leave the stop so late. Obviously had a plan that they were going to work with, but yeah, it's quite surprising to be leaving it until that late in the race. But
Daryl Callahan off the road. That's on the back stretch. That car, I think, has broken steering by the looks of it, possibly. It is not running well. It's pulled over and it's going to tow back. And that'll be the night done and dusted for Callahan. Cesar now. It's come out of pit lane, up 21 positions in this race into the top 10. What a great drive. Yeah. Same for Todd Duggan. Both of them up 21. That is a phenomenal performance of both of those drivers. Verban up 13 as well. Up 14 is Corfeidis. That is well, those are some phenomenal drivers out there, Phil, from 3 drivers or nearly 4 drivers, sorry, in the double digits at this stage.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Cesar's a great driver. I've had some good battles with him over my time, and speaking to him once, he sort of, I don't think he has the time that he once had to put into the driving, but it just goes to show when he does get in the car and with the limited time that he has, he can certainly drive the wheels off of that car.
Well, it's one of those reasons why he is a former champion of this split, and you know, you look to drivers who could possibly be the next 2-time champion. Well, with only 2 in the field this season with Cesar and Duggan, they're the only 2 that could possibly do it. We'd have to look, actually I might have to look further back to see if there's any others in here, but yeah, depending on who comes down from split 1, kind of limits the pool of who could possibly join the 3 other drivers currently sitting at 2-time championships, and it makes you wonder who is going to be the next one to join that illustrious list. And then you think, is there ever going to be a person to win 3? Because I know we have that often happening in split 1, where you get 3-time champions, but we've never had one here in split 2, and that's going to be a very historic day when that finally comes around.
Yeah, well, I suppose because you get bumped, if you do win it in split 2, you're going to get bumped up. So yeah, well, I suppose if you're sort of bumping up and bumping back down, it could happen. But yeah, it would be a interesting scenario to be able to win the 3. But it's like I said, but going up to split 1, I think if you've got the pace to win it in split 2, I think a lot of guys would just end up staying there for quite some time. Well,
what's quite interesting is, Phil, on average, it takes about 7. On average, I believe it's been about 7 or 6 seasons between drivers winning their first and then their second championship in the split. That's the current average, I believe. So it doesn't happen often, but it takes a while for a driver to win 2. We've not had the scenario where they've won it, they've gone up, they've come straight back again and then won the championship again. That's not come around just yet. As great move made for Jamie Peters on Brett Fisher. Took a lot of guts to get that done in that fast-paced section. He's managed to get the job done. And now he looks ahead to Peter Baxter in their final run to the line.
Yeah, that was a good move. Fantastic bit of driving. As I see Mick Clifton as well. Ever reliable Mick Clifton is up there, looking good. He's a great fella, Mick, so it's good to see him have a good result here.
A real character is the proverbially known in other spaces Mick the Rockstar Clifton. Hasn't quite had the previous success that he's had in other seasons here in Split 2, but he's got all the ability in the world to get a performance out of this car and to possibly challenge for a championship at some stage. He's one of those drivers that you're almost waiting to take the next step, and when he does, he will be someone to properly challenge for the title. As Ron Allen's made a mistake down the road from him, he's luckily got 11.5 seconds back to Mick, but that's cost him the podium spot to Bruce Tannock, who's just gotten by him now up into P3. So Tannock will push on, needs to keep this mistake free now for the rest of this lap, and he'll finish on the podium here at the showcase of the Nürburgring for season 27 of the Racecraft Simulations V8 Veterans. Brett Horsel, though, in the race lead. Here comes Blanchard, though. This is almost lining up, Phil, to be a race down the back straight, isn't it? This could come down to when does Blanchard go. And does he get it done
Yeah.
late enough to stop Horsell, but early enough that he's not held back and unable to get it made?
Yeah, this will be interesting. Absolutely. When I was splitting for Luke, I believe the car in front of Luke sort of just went wide and let Luke through just to try and set up that pass along the back straight there. So it's you certainly got to be careful of having a car too close to you coming onto that back straight.
Well, they're not going to be too far away from it. They're riding up the hill towards the first of the carousels. And Blanchard is right on the heels of Brett Horsell. Now through the next section of forest and the ride towards the next carousel as well. This is a very fast-paced, tough section. You've got to wrestle the car through. Let it dance over the bumps as best you can. Get it pulled up for some of the slower corners. It's a very heavy, medium-speed corner section, though. And this is where you start to feel the direction start to shift from... You almost feel like you're turning left the whole time as you go around towards the first carousel. This is really where you start to feel it turn right. This is where you start to feel the direction change. And you know that you're coming up towards the final run to the line. Up and around the long right-hander. And now get the power down as best you can to try and keep this car nice and close as you ride towards the camping ground. Not too far from here.
What a drive from Brett so far, though. He's got off the
drive.
line perfectly. He got straight to the front, and he hasn't put a foot wrong so far. So let's hope he can bring it home.
Well, we'll see if he can. Up and around they ride. And towards the second carousel. You suspect that Blanchard is playing this waiting game to get himself into the best position possible to make the move onto the back straight. Let's see. Oh, we nearly caught Tannick going over the jump. We might get Mick Clifton in a moment when he comes around the corner. I've been waiting to get this shot all night, Phil, so we might just wait for this now. There he is. There's Mick.
Here he comes.
Coming around. Oh, they're barely even jumping over it, though. Oh, it's amazing, though, the elevation change. It's quite interesting. I was watching Split 1 on Thursday, and they mentioned that where would you rather ride a bicycle, here at the Nürburgring or at Bathurst? And, well, you might say you'd rather ride around the Nürburgring. The Nürburgring has more elevation change than what Bathurst does, so might be a tougher ride, being that it's longer, although Horsell running wide onto the back straight. This is going to give Blanchard a peak opportunity to get this move made into the race lead. Can he get this done all the way under the tailpipe? Past he comes. And down towards the Bilstein Bridge. Is Horsell going to have anything for him for the next part? Tucked straight back into the toe. Can he have a go at him to the final braking zone of the circuit? I think Blanchard pulled it off at the perfect time there, Phil. Horsell didn't have a chance to come back at him. Through the S's they ride for the final time into the start-finish line. Call him the Ringmeister. Chris Blanchard takes the win in the showcase at the Nürburgring ahead of Brett Horsell in P2. Bruce Tannick will come around in P3. If only it was worth championship points, it would have been the championship lead. Mick Clifton will come home out of P4. What a drive for Mick. Unbelievable drive for Mick Clifton. Brendan Zatira, what a drive for him up into P5. Tony Chapman, Todd Duggan will come home inside the top 10 ahead of Halil Cesar and then Nathan Favero. And Abel Verben makes up our top 10. Unbelievable. 5 laps. What a showcase. Turns out to be the shortest race of the season, but, well, it was great for those drivers out there. And I felt we had some really good battling out there as well, Phil. I was worried. I thought the whole field was going to spread out and it was going to be maybe a little bit boring, but I think the fact that the race time was a bit shorter kept the field a bit more compact, and actually we had some really good battles in the end there.
Absolutely. Poor old Brett will be kicking himself for getting on the grass there, coming onto the back straight, but awesome drive from Blanchard. That's, you know, he stuck with him for that whole lap and just didn't let him get any gap on him. And when Brett ran wide, he was there to pounce. So congratulations to him.
Well, what this will mean is we got to try and figure out some drivers of the day. And I think, Phil, being that it is a special occasion, it is a showcase race, and you're our special guest tonight, I'm going to give you the choice on who you think the driver of the day was here this evening.
Oh, jeez. Well, I can't go past Blanchard winning it. Good on him. It was a clean drive. So congratulations to him getting the win and
Very
the driver
good.
of the day.
Very good. Well, we have him in the green room right now. We'll bring him in for a very quick chat with us as well. Chris, welcome in. P1 on the road. Unfortunately, it's not worth points, but what it is worth for you is the Driver of the Day award. Congratulations, Driver of the Day, for the showcase at the Nürburgring, putting on your pure prowess and getting the race win. Congratulations.
Thank you. Driver of the day. Geez, now I can give it back to Baldock.
Well, you didn't get any points, so we thought we'd have to.
No, it's good. Dave likes to go on how he's had 4 drivers of the day, so at least I can say I'm now starting to catch him.
He might say it doesn't count because it was a non-championship round, but you know, you just tell him, no, I did it at the Nürburgring. That's worth at least 5. Dave Royal will back you up for that one, I'm sure.
Oh, Dave will. Yes.
Well, Chris, obviously you had some good pace coming into tonight. A solid drive, obviously, off of P2 and then into a race win. Now, was it, what was the thoughts when you found out this wasn't actually going to be a championship round? And obviously there was a lot happening with, not so much of the admin's control because of the iRacing hotfix. But how was the thoughts leading into it on Thursday night, knowing that this was not going to be a championship round anymore and that it was actually just going to be a showcase and a bit of fun?
Well, we only sort of found out after the race started. We sort of, it was only after the flag dropped and sort of come out, and I thought about for like half a second. I thought, you know what, if everyone else stays in here racing, I'm in here racing. As long as there's competition, as long as you can have a go and have the fun of competing against someone, I'm here. So, yeah, Brett gave me a great time. It was really great racing with Brett. As I said, I think I've memorised the serial number of his bumper bar by now. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. It's always worthwhile coming here.
I suppose as well helps give a little bit of driving practice prior to the final round next week, and thinking of where the points currently stand and who's in the battle where. You yourself, you're within the top 6, so you've got a chance of getting into the top 5 now, thanks to that only being a single drop round this season. What's the thoughts heading into Adelaide? Are you hoping for a good performance? Do you think you can get your way in the top 5 and finally return back to Split 1 after so long away, or do you think there's going to be work to do heading into next week's race?
Between you, me, and the gatepost, and everyone else listening, I'm quite happy to stay in Split 2.
I think we might find that Blanchy may decide I'm not going to be able to make next week's race.
Oh, look, in all honesty, I've been in Split 1. I was in Split 1 for a long time. I thoroughly enjoyed it. But the time and commitment that you need to put into Split 1, I don't have that anymore. And it is, and that's what it comes down to. It's the amount of time that you can put into it. You've got to practice to get decent results there. So Split 2 suits me at the moment, and trust me, my nature, I'm not going out to tank next week. What'll be will be. But yeah, it's not something I'm really thinking about. I just go out to compete, and I've had a couple of three bad rounds this season, but everything else I've been in the top 10. So the results have been good. Just those couple of bad luck, bad choices have let me down at times, and just thoroughly enjoying the racing here, thoroughly enjoying the racing against the guys we're racing against.
Do you think Split 2's maybe a bit of a clubman split at this stage? These guys are all drivers that are probably fast enough for Split 1, or majority of the field probably fast enough for Split 1, but majority of them may not be able to put as much commitment time into gaining the pace needed consistently to stay in Split 1?
Probably it. After having a discussion with Bruce a while ago, like it's it really is hard to change between splits, and he explained it to me how he looks at it, and there is a lot of science behind it, and those that when they do the pub test do go up deserve to go up. A lot of the guys in split two, a lot of them have all got the capability to be in split one, as you said. You know, again, whether or not they've got the time, probably a lot of them don't. I wouldn't call it a clubman split, but we've all been racing. The majority of us have been racing against each other for long enough. The racing's really good. And yeah, occasionally some guys go up and some guys will come back, and it's sort of mostly the same group. Occasionally we get a couple of these young'uns come in, and these blow-ins on their way through to split one. And we sort of knock them in line pretty quick. So the racing's been pretty good.
Now, Phil, you were one of those blow-bys who went straight from split 3 to split 2 to split 1. But Chris, do you think there might be just a very quick one? Is there almost like a understood rule between drivers that if there's someone that's come up or come down and they think they can wrestle us around here in split 2, we're going to teach them the ways of split 2 before we're going to give them a hand out there?
Oh, no, I don't think there's anything conscious like that. I think we're just all willing to put, if somebody wants to come in with the elbows out, I think we're all smart enough to know whether or not we put our elbows out or whether or not we pull them in a little and just let them go on the way and just make fools of themselves, or we just sit back and go, let's just see what happens here, and let's see if it works out for those that want to go a little bit hard, or whether or not it backfires on them.
Well, Chris, we appreciate your time. Congratulations on this race win and the driver of the day as well for the showcase race here at the Nürburgring. Is there anyone that you want to give a shout out to before we let you go this evening?
Oh, I'm terrible for sponsors, remembering all that, but big shout out to the boys at WKMP. Big shout out to the rest of the guys in Split 2 for the racing. And to you guys as well for still making the effort and coming in to do the broadcast tonight, even though it's a dead rubber round. It's much appreciated, that time that you put back into us. And also I'd like to thank all of the admin guys as well. I know they copped a bit of flack for Thursday night. That really was out of their control, and they tried to do the best they could, and unfortunately sometimes it just doesn't work. And hey, if we still get to go out there and race, we still get to go out there and race. As we've seen this week, the sun still comes up tomorrow, and we just move on.
That's exactly right. Thanks so much, Chris. We wish you the best of luck at Adelaide next week, and we look forward to seeing where you end up in the championship standings after the final round.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Catch you all next week.
Well done.
Well, Phil, you managed to make it through your first Split 2 broadcast as a commentator this time. Next week at Adelaide, you get to hop back in the seat and go racing for the final round of season 27 in Split 1. How are you feeling going into that event?
To be honest, I've got to get used to the car again. I've been driving the FG Falcon in another series, so no, I really do like the track. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. And as I said before, there's a lot of concrete there, so things can go badly very quickly. But hoping for a good, clean race, and we'll see how we go.
Well, I appreciate your time, Phil, joining me here tonight, and did a great job, and really appreciate it. And I wish you the best of luck in the final round next week and into next season as well, in season 28. And appreciate everybody joining us as well, watching along with us. You can help support the series by clicking the like button, the subscribe, the bell icon as well on the V8 Vets channel, so you're notified whenever we go racing with the Split 2, Split 3 and Split 4 action. You can help support us at Infinity Broadcasting by clicking the like button, the subscribe, the bell icon too over on the Infinity Broadcasting channel. We've got a little bit of time between races on the channel actually. The next event is the final round of Season 27 of the Racecraft Simulations V8 Veterans. Then we'll be going racing at New Hampshire Motor Speedway the Monday after for High Side Motorsports. You guys don't want to miss that. Shout out as well to the series sponsors, of course, Racecraft Simulations, Logitech G, Parramatta Isuzu, Player One Sim Gear, Nova Sim Sports, Project Fade Streetwear, LGC Images, and M1 Used Cars with the Driver of the Day award. Tonight up at the way of Chris Blanchard. Next time it could go to you, for myself, Hamish Munro. Phil Manuel alongside. Appreciate your time. Appreciate you for being here with us once again. We hope to see you next week for Adelaide. But until then, stay safe, drive hard, and as always, bye for now.
With lines screaming, tires bleeding, virtual cubes, the motor's breathing, engine thunder from down under, piston fire, torn asunder, put your name in lights. Oh, with the vets tonight, it's a 1,000 decibel super car fight, burn this track to the ground with V8 sound. Oh, you're so steel, but the racing's real. Pedal down every pass you feel. Step right up and place your bets. This is us, the V8 vets. Put your name in lights. Put your name in lights with the vets tonight. It's a 1,000 decibel super car fight. Burn this track to the ground with V8 sound. Put your name in lights. Oh, with the vets tonight. It's a 1,000 decibel super car fight. Burn this track to the ground with V8 sound. Burn this track to the ground. Come on now, put your name in lights.
The Racing Series is a new milestone in Logitech G.
All the great old wheels, the G29, the G920, the G923, they all have their own unique way of connecting to each other, but there's no room for expansion with those products.
So the question arose was, what if we were to give the opportunity for the racer to switch out from a drifting wheel to a GT rim?
With the wheel hubs that we've created, that's got a very specific button set, but you can replace any of the steering wheels.
And the real lovely aspect to this was we could give the user, driver and the racer the opportunity to experience different genres of race.
That allows drivers to craft high quality, customized setups that resonate with your individual racing style.
When we start with the design, we always start sketching. Very often, once we've got sketches, we start discussing with engineering.
We had 3 rounds of engineering testing or user testing where we invited in users from sim racing, and every single round of feedback we refine, the product based on what they tell us.
In the sim racing lab, again, we're going to use data to really analyze what a driver needs. We've used everything from eye tracking to the inputs from the pedals, the inputs from the, let's say, input devices, the wheel and the pedals, the shifter. We're taking that and we're compiling it so that we can build different products based on those individuals' needs for all consumers and all drivers.
I don't know of anyone else in the industry that's actually doing this kind of research into their products to see how their products are affecting performance of their users.
We've built the product to make sure that it's as reliable as possible.
So the innovations in engineering that I'd say we're most proud of is the sequential handbrake and shifter toolless changeover. This is now a patented system, so it's really easy for the user to just switch between modes.
If you give people the tools to do what they want, they will.
They will just go off and have fun.
Introducing the Racekraft PT1, custom-built full chassis racing simulator. The design project, codenamed The Cage, an 80/40 extrusion chassis sitting on top of a Sigma Integrale DK2 Plus 4-point full motion actuator system. No compromises in the cockpit of the PT1 simulator. To maximize the experience, we start with the 49-inch ultra-wide monitor for the greatest field of view in a small footprint of the simulator, down to the SimuCube wheelbase that's tucked up and behind the monitors with SimCore extensions to get things out of the driving area. Everything is connected to a Cube Controls GTX steering wheel with the built-in dash and all the extra button functions available at your fingertips. Driving through the Raceworks S1 pedals, the potentiometer throttle and the 2 hydraulic pedals for brake and clutch ensures you maximize the feel underfoot, and seating yourself into an OMP HTER bucket racing seat with OMP belts connected to a G-belt tensioner to provide that extra feeling and the heightened experience while you're driving. Additional interfaces and accessories in the PT1, we have twin butt kickers, one on either side of the OMP seat, as well as a Jinx sequential shifter, the SimPush Race Logic timer to the left-hand side, a Racecraft built-in WinSim kit with Philips Hue lighting and a built-in sound bar, plus the OMP side net to finish off the experience in the PT1. The Racecraft PT1, build number 1, the ultimate in sim racing experience, combining the best products in the market with the passionate, no compromise approach that goes beyond racing simulation.
Come on.